Everybody, Heather here. Thanks for joining me to color. Today we are going to be working on this super cute Magnolia image called Tilda with Kneesocks. Isn't she adorable? I love her little hat. So cute. I will put a link down in the description box to the card kit and all the supplies that I used. I would love for you to come shopping with me. Also, if you have a question, make sure to leave me a comment and I will get back to you. And I would love it if you could hit the like button so I know you like the video. And if you're not a subscriber, do that already so you'll get an update whenever I upload a new video. So I've already stamped my image on Nina 80-pound Solar White cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So let's color. So let's start out by outlining our image with C00. And I'm just going to start down here at the bottom of her foot and do a quick outline all the way around her body. We're just going to go all the way around here. And you can make your line as thick or as small as you want. I'm just kind of going around in a little swirl here. I want to go around this cute little hair she's got poking out. I'd say my lines may be between 1/4 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch wide. But you can make yours however small or big as you want. Once it's dry, you will hardly see it. But it just, for me, adds a little bit of a shadow around her so that it looks like she's popping off the page just a little bit, not look so flat. Like that. And then for the ground, I'm going to use E43 and E42. So I'm going to take my E43 and I'm just going to give her a little something to stand on. So let's go up here past the sole of her shoe just a little bit. And same back here, we're going to go behind her shoe a little bit. And let's bring it out just a tad. And then I'm going to soften it with E42. And then I like to go back with my darkest color, which was E43 this time, and just add a little bit more shadow underneath. Let's hop up here and do her skin next. For that, we're going to use E11, E21, E00, and E000. For her cheeks, I'm going to use R43, R20, and R30. I'm going to start with my E11 down here on her legs. So let's do a little bit of our E11 underneath of her skirt, or her dress, and then down the back of her leg. I'm going to bring this color a little bit. There's some little dots right here already on above her sock. I'm just going to bring that color out here a little bit. And then she's got a little bend in her knee that I'm going to exaggerate a little bit. And then I want to do a tiny dab in here in the space between her legs. And then I'm going to go with the E21, and I want to soften that edge. So I'm going to brush down on top of my E11, and then I'm going to lightly feather over the top of it and just work my way into the white space. And I want to do a little bit over here on this leg. And then I'm going to fill it in with my E00. And I tend to take my color and go clear across the entire surface of her leg. Kind of blends them all together and softens it all nicely for me. Alright, and then we'll go up here and we're going to do her arm. So again, I'm going to grab E11. And I want to add a little bit of my E11 underneath of her sleeve. And since she's got a little bit of her neck showing, I'm going to do a little dab of that right there in the corner. Then I'm going to grab E21. Let's add a little bit more here on her neck, and then soften the edge of our line from her dark color. And I'm going to bring this color down here onto her elbow. And then I want to fill that in with my E00. So again, I go clear across the entire area and soften the whole thing up. Then we'll go up here and we're going to do our face. So I'm going to grab E11. And I'm just going to use my E11 up here underneath of her bangs. And then she's got a few little dots that kind of go down the side of her face. So I'm going to go down just a little bit on the side of her face. And then I'm going to grab E21. And I want to do this color the rest of the way around her face. And I also want to soften this edge a little bit, so I'm going to flick away from that edge of that E21 and bring it down here into her face just a tad. And then I'm going to go with E00. And let's brush over these cheeks. Same with this side, we'll do her cheeks. And we'll soften this edge up here. And then I'm going to grab E000, and we're going to do a little bit here on the inside, and just run over that edge just a little bit. I've left a little spot of white that I'll do again after I've done her cheeks. So I'm going to grab R43, and I'm going to give each cheek a little dab of color, and then R20 to soften the edge. And R30 just to soften it a little bit more. And I tend to fill in the area there out to my third dot out here in the center of her face. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I want to add some more skin tone, so I'm going to grab E21. And I'm going to brush that softly over the edge of this cheek here. And this side. And I'm going to go with E00. And this time I'm going to brush from the side of her face out here to just past her eyeball there. Same for this side. Let's go up here and we'll brush right along the edge. And we'll bring that out here past her eye. And I'm going to do a little bit up here at the top. Soften that line I got there. And then I'll take my E000 and I'm going to go clear across her entire face. I'm just going to wipe from one side to the other side. Now let's go do her hair. For that we're going to use E44, E35, E53, and E50. And I'm going to start with my E35. And let's start on this side right over here. So she's got her bangs kind of flip out here, and then this section comes out from underneath. So I'm going to go in here with my E35, and there's already some lines there. So I'm going to kind of use those as my guide and flick some color down onto her hair. And then I want to also go up from down here on the bottom. She's got a little bit right down here, so I want to go up. And then I want to also bring this line where it's coming out from behind her cheek just a little bit. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. So she's got a little section that's coming underneath. So we're just going to flick our color on. And then again, it's going underneath of her cheek. So let's add a little bit of color right here. And then I'm going to bring this color around where it comes back down over here and out. And I'm trying to be careful not to get any on her dress. Okay. And then for her bangs up here, let's do a little dab here where it's kind of coming back around to the other side and tipping behind this bottom section. And then right here, it looks like it's going behind this other section. So I'm going to give that a little dab. And here it's coming out from behind the other section. And then here it looks like it's got a little curly Q. So I'm going to add a little bit of dark in there. And then where it's coming out at the roots too, I want to add a little bit. Same for this side. We want to do where it's coming out from underneath of her hat. So let's go ahead and flick a little bit up here and down this way a little bit. And then over here it looks like it's dipping behind. And then I want to do my little curly Q at the end. and then I'm going to grab E53. I want to add some more color, so let's just start over here on this side. And I'm just going to flick some color on. And work my way over to the other side. And then I'm going to grab E50 and just kind of go over some of those white spaces. And then I'm going to take my darkest color, which was E44, and add a little bit of shadows in there. So I'm going to start over here underneath where I started the first time. And we're going to add a little bit of shadows in here. And I'm trying to use the tip of my pen and keep it more straight, so that I can get a little bit smaller lines. And we'll just work our way to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to bring this color a little bit up here closer to her cheek. Maybe bring this side around a little bit more. Then I think I'm going to add a little bit of my E35 again. Let's go in here. Just add a little bit of more shade in there. Now let's hop down here and do her shoes and her dress. For that we're going to use W5, W3, W1, and W00. So I'm going to start with my W5 down here on her shoe, and I'm just going to give this back shoe just a tiny dab along the line there where it's connected to her other shoe. And then for this shoe over here, I'm going to go along there, do a little dab along the bottom of her sole. And then right here, I want to give it like a little indentation where there is a sole. Next, I'm going to grab E3. I'm just going to go right along that line, just a tiny dab on there. And then for her shoe, let's do, right here, there's a little crease in her shoe. So I'm going to do a little bit of color in there. And then over here, I just want to soften this edge. So we're just going to rub right across the top of it. And then we're going to grab W1, and I think I got a little bit more room over here, so I'm going to add a little color there. And then over here, we're going to soften this edge just a little bit more. And then we're going to fill it in with our W00. And maybe go over that back shoe just a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to go up here and we're going to color her dress. So I'm going to grab W5. Now let's do her sleeve first. So I'm going to give a little bit of color along the bottom of her sleeve. And then she's got a couple of little wrinkles. So I'm going to exaggerate those a little bit. And here's one right here. There's their line. And then I'm going to go with W3. I just want to go back over the top of those lines and just make them a little bit bigger. I don't want to add too much. Actually, I think I'll bring this color up just a little bit here on the side. And then I'm going to go with W1. So again, we want to go over those last two colors. and then W00 to fill it in. And then I'm going to take my W5. I'm going to go back and add that contrast in a little bit on the sleeve. Just a tatty bit. Okay, then we're going to continue on with the bodice of her dress. So let's do our W5 right along her sleeve here. And then she's got a little bitty section of lines that kind of go out a little bit. So I'm going to exaggerate those just a little bit. And then her skirt. And let's go down the back of her skirt. Like that. And then how about a little bit of color above this ruffle? And then let's give her a little bit of a line here for shadows and for wrinkles on her dress. Now we're going to grab W3, and we want to soften that edge. So I'm just going to lay down my pen on the top of my W5 and just lightly add a little bit more color. Same over here. And then we're going to go with W1, same thing. We want to lay down on top of our W3. And we want to soften that up just a little bit. Just soften those lines. And then we're going to fill it in with W00. Go down each of these lines. And then down here, I'm going to go over the swirl down here. But I'm not going to color in the swirls. So we're going to make the bottom part green. I got a little bit of line here left, so let's go back over that again. Now I'm going to take my W1, I'm going to soften this edge just a little bit more. There's a little bit of a line right here, so I'm going to flick over this section. And then take my W00 and lightly feather over that edge. There's a little bit of a line there I wasn't liking. Okay, and then I'm going to take my W5 and I want to add these little cute little wrinkles in a little bit better. So that leaves us with the green. For that, we're going to use G82, G43, and YG61. Let's go down here and start with our socks on with G82. So I'm going to do this front sock right next to where it's touching the other sock. And then I want it to have like a little rib here on the front of her sock, so I'm going to give that a little dash line. And then the back of her sock, we're going to go down the back of her sock and lightly flick that out here. But I also want to get a little bit of color down here towards her shoe. And again, I want it to have like a little bump right here in her socks. We're going to go around like that. Next is G43. And we want to add a little bit of color over here. And we're going to soften this edge. Our little sock rim. And then fill it in with YG61. Then let's go up here and do her dress sleeve. So again, I've grabbed G82, and I'm going to do G82, which is the darkest, right up here next to the top of the sleeve. And then for her skirt, I'm going to go right along the bottom. And then I'm going to grab G43, I'll soften this edge on this top up here, and same for up here. We just want to soften the edge. So we're touching down on top of our last color and pulling into our white. And then we want to fill it in with our YG61. And remember, I was going to leave these little swirls in the middle white, so I'm avoiding those. We're touching down on top of our last color and then pulling up here into our dress. I got a little bit of a line left right here, so I'm going to go back over that a second time and just soften that edge just a little bit more. Then we got our cute little hat. So again, let's grab G82 and let's go with a little bit of this color on the back of her hat. And then she's got this great little indentation, so I'm going to bring that out. I'm going to bring this line over here just a little bit more up towards her skull. And then where it's coming out from behind her bow, and then we're going to darken that little crease. And over here where it's coming underneath the bow, I want to go ahead and do in there a little bit more. And a little dab down here in this corner. And for the knot, let's do a little bit here at the bottom, and then that little line here in the center. And for our bow center, let's give that a little shot of color. And then let's go with G43. I'm going to fill this little section over here in. And then YG61 to fill it in. And even though I filled it in over here, I like to go over it again with my lightest color. This helps me blend some of those lines that are still left. So there is our beautiful Tilda with Kneesocks all colored up. Isn't she adorable? And then again, here is my finished card. So I have added some Spica clear glitter pen to her hair to add a little bit of sparkles. And then I used my Sharpie white paint pen to add some dots to her cheeks and to her eyes. And when I stamped the girl's eyes, like on this one, they didn't really fill in that well. So I just used a black, my black Copic marker to fill in her eyes. And then I put the dots on after I was done coloring and it dried. And also I ended up adding these little butterflies up here because I had stamped my girl and I got a little smudge of ink right here and I'm like, oh no. I didn't notice it till I had her colored. So I just took my little butterfly and covered that little spot up there and added some more up here for sparkles. So I hope you had fun coloring with me today. Make sure to leave me a comment if you have a question. Otherwise, we will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.